So what just happened in the crypto market? I mean, one day we are expecting things to just continue going as they were in a really good manner. We're expecting new all-time highs to come quickly. And all of a sudden, price just comes out of nowhere and dumps on us. Well, here we are going to discuss what exactly happened yesterday and what is still happening today. This is going to be posted late Monday Eastern Time, Standard Eastern Time. So we're going to just get into everything that happened, where I think personally price is going to go, and what you can look forward to understand and see these things play out by yourself without hearing these from other people. So with all that being said, the first thing we're going to be taking a look at is that of Bitcoin. This is on the daily time frame. Let me go and remove these fair value gaps. So guys, if you had remembered, I had posted this exact chart probably a pretty long time ago. I honestly forget when it was, but this was something that I had drew out. I drew out this long. I had this support already identified. I had this demand zone already identified. This was done early September, and now we are in 21st of September, where we finally came down into this long position. So I'd kind of predicted price to eventually come down here. You can literally check. It might be on X, it might be on some short form videos of mine, but you can find that I did actually have this planned out to have happened. Now, as you guys can see, if we go back and we rewind the chart a little bit, okay, let's just take this long out of there. You guys can see that we had a clear trend line, and a trend line is basically an area where we see price bouncing off of multiple times in a distinct line. Well, here we have a wick off of this line. We have a candle close or a candle off of this line as well, multiple wicks off this line and a candle as well, candle opening on the line. We had a wick rejection off this line as well. Then we have a candle close off this line. And this was kind of exactly where a lot of people were looking at. Was this going to be a make or break? And this was Friday, September 19th. So just this Friday, we were looking at this because what we were watching for was we were watching for a break below this trend line, essentially a new candle to form where it would close below this trend line. If we had a candle close above the trend line, then this trend line would still be fair game, and we might have revisited even 120,000 eventually. But as you guys see, we had a closure below. Right then, you could have shorted based off of just this trend line, breaking off of it. You could have set your stop slightly above the trend line, and then you could have found a target. My personal target would be down here. I would have hit full P on this, right? What do we have happen right after? Well, we get a massive move down into this identified demand zone that I had identified back in early September, as well as this identified support that hopefully does not get flipped into resistance, because that would mean we would continue even further down, potentially even revisiting the 200 EMA on the daily time frame. So that is important to note. So nonetheless, price broke the trend line, it came down, we tapped into our support, we tapped into our demand zone. Now, this demand zone, if 100% of it gets filled, as you can see, we wicked into it, filling the entirety of it, then it is no longer valid. So this demand zone no longer exists in my eyes because 100% of it was filled. Therefore, it's not something I'm going to have on my chart. And we can remove this line because this was for a DCA. Okay, but nonetheless, that would have got you a decent move up. As you can see, we wicked down into the demand zone, we came back up, and now we are forming our next 24-hour candle, which hopefully this does not continue down and close below this support box, because if it does, and then we get a retest of this, if we see something of this nature where we come down, right, we now close below the support, we come up, tap the bottom of support, and come back down. Then we have flipped officially that support into resistance, and you can probably expect more downside to, I believe I have a demand zone all the way down at 97K. I don't think we'd personally get there. We definitely would long if we tap this 200 EMA. We have not touched this in a very, very long time. Like a very long time. If you look, the last time was April of 2025, and we were trading below that EMA. We are nowhere near there. We potentially could be soon. So it is something that I am watching for. But as you can see, we broke below that trend line. We're now breaking below that support. Potentially we could close below that and continue down. But what I honestly think is going to happen is that we continue upwards, we reject off the support, and we see something like this where we just bounce off and potentially flip back into bullish structure. But again, this is a significant move down, so it is definitely something to keep note of. So that is just all I would like to say about that. Now, let's go to the 4-hour time frame on Bitcoin, and this is where it gets kind of scary in a way. Okay, so first of all, what I mean by this is clearly we had, and for those of you who don't know technical analysis, we had a classic M formation. I forget what it's exactly called. People could look at this as a double top where we came up, we came down, we came up, and then this top is very, very, very small in difference in comparison to size, followed by a movement down, break of structure there. Why? Because this is our previous low. We then have another previous low, which is lower than this one. Therefore, we are now in bearish structure. We come up, form a high. This is where you could short once you see some struggle there, and you would have got a nice move down, right? Because even look, on the 4-hour time frame, we reject off that trend line that we had identified on the daily time frame. But us closing below this 4-hour 200 EMA is concerning, to say the least. The last time we were below this was early September, though, before we flipped back out of it. So honestly, not too worried because we've seen something similar to this. However, again, look, we do not want to have closures below this support line, and you can see we did technically have one before coming up, but I'm more concerned on the daily time frame. That's kind of where I'm looking. If we close below this support, then I do think that we could even revisit this 200 EMA. I think what we would see next, as you can see, there's strong support here at that $108,000 level. We have it previously here as well. So I do think that that could be another level of interest, 110K even. We just kind of see it level by level. If we see consistent closures, then the trend would continue to follow in a bearish manner until we see a bullish break of structure occur. So Bitcoin to me does not look to be off to a good start. On the hourly time frame as well, we just failed to reclaim that high, and it looks like we're flipping this support to resistance, which I hope is not the case on that daily time frame. But we're gonna have to see how this daily candle closes. I think this will be very important. You guys will see a video out on this tomorrow as well covering it. But now let's talk about Ethereum specifically, and this is the exact same thing. As soon as you would have seen this trend line break, this break, right? Then you could have assumed, hey, we're probably not going to be headed into a good direction here. As you guys can see, we had this support level, which we've closed below and potentially might even continue to close below. We're forming a massive bearish FEG on the daily time frame, and I was able to catch along here. I was able to catch 3R on that earlier today, which was nice. But as you guys see, we had a demand zone. What did we do? We wicked right into it and came up. Was this filled 50% of the way? No, but even, I mean, guys, look, we had to tap into this demand zone, and that was when we hit our previous all-time high for Ethereum. We had a new hit into this demand zone before wicking all the way up. So the demand zones definitely still do hold strong. This is why I try to continue to reiterate them, because I look at these a lot in my technical analysis, and you guys have seen multiple examples today of them actually working in real time. Okay, so we can go and I'll leave the demand zone open. Technically, I guess the DCA hasn't filled because not half of it was filled, but this previous support, as you can see, where we had all of these rejections from, I think is now going to be flipped to where we potentially go down and tap $4,000 per ETH again, potentially filling this demand zone before coming back up. And I think that we should be good from there. We're trading well above the 200 EMA, by the way. So I think in general, we're good. Now, here is where I'm concerned, like I've said. If we go to the 4-hour time frame, this is not looking good per the EMA, the 200 EMA exponential moving average. We closed below here when the last time we closed below here was all the way in June. So all the way in June was the last time where we closed below the 200 EMA on the 4-hour time frame, and now late September, almost 3-4 months, we are now closing below again. We closed below that support. We're tapping into 4K, and I think 4K is going to be the next area we revisit, where I know a lot of people are looking too long from there. I do think that's a scenario, okay? Now, as far as altcoins go, altcoins did see major swings to the downside due to this price fluctuation, due to this massive sell volume. But I think that's going to be short-lived, and it's going to give people a lot better opportunities to actually go and enter a potential trade. And that is where we're going to talk about Aerodrome. So Aerodrome is a token of the day where we're just going to do a little chart overview on it. But yeah, mostly, again, a quick recap for Bitcoin and Ethereum. I think there's downside still for both of those. I still think that, ETH, probably 4K where we bounce off of. I think Bitcoin, we could continue down to maybe 110K before continuing back upwards again. We're just going to have to see how these next daily candles close, and that will kind of give me a better idea. But as you guys can see, even with these altcoins, we had this respected ascending trend line, multiple taps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Boom, we fell below. You could have waited for this candle closure, set yourself a short, okay, and then you would have caught a very good move down, even into $1.02, which is absolutely crazy to see for Aerodrome. But again, we had identified this resistance level. This was an area where we saw multiple price rejections from. We saw support here as well. Resistance was here. So then once we broke this and closed below this line that I had identified, I thought, okay, this would be a perfect short to take, and it was, because as you can see, we continued down, wicked below this support line, and we are now headed down to $1.08 as we speak, where I think we will reject off of. However, if we don't reject off there, I do think this area right here where I have a demand zone identified, the 200 EMA identified around that 93-cent range, 95-cent range, I think we have a good potential to come and tap into that range. On the 4-hour time frame, if we go take a look, we are closing below that 200 EMA. However, we were below there for quite a while in September anyway, so it's not too concerning. But yeah, we broke below that trend line, continued down, right? That would have been a great short opportunity, but I think that there is more potential for downside, especially since we just had this happen. I think that there's going to be room for more downside before we see any more swings upwards. So that's going to be it. Quick little market update. Again, I'm working on my best for consistency for you guys. So ideally these will be out every day. Just giving market updates just like this, right? We just talked about this major swing down, what this means, where I think this could go, and really just trying to help you guys understand some of the lingo that I'm talking about. So that's pretty much it for today. We're going to give you guys another market update tomorrow. You guys get the short form content that regards trading, and then we'll work something out specifically for more in-depth viewpoints on my trading on a day-to-day basis. So that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to subscribe if you find any value from this, and I'll see you guys later.